In the 70s, the three-piece suit came back into vogue and moved on to the disco floor. And the 80s might see the strangest counterculture yet. Elaine Heck now takes a look at a whole new concept in music and fashion.
I went from being a beatnik to being a hippie to being a whiz kid to this.
Most people call them punks. Some don't mind that title, but many claim it's a grossly overused term applied to anyone who's into new music and new fashion. What's now being labeled new wave.
We're talking peace, love, and anarchy, you know?
And 90% of the people that will go anarchy, yeah, and spray paint it on your walls don't know the first thing of what they're talking about.
The punk scene actually grew out of England, where angry, politically minded bands sang of social upheaval, anarchy, and economic strife. Theirs was a minimal and rebellious sound dubbed punk rock. In the trip across the Atlantic, most of the politics got lost, but the raw-sounding music and bizarre dress code arrived intact.
Take it out, it's painful, yeah.
I think it's beautiful. It's the only, you know, I hate having drab hair.
Oh, I don't even, you know, go with the fashion trip. I just wear whatever I feel like, man. So I saw a tube of girl cream and I decided it looked good.
I don't know, maybe I was a gypsy in another life or something. I like to dress like this.
There are differences between punk and new wave in attitude, dress, and music. To define those differences, we talked first with Dr. David Zatmary, who runs a used record store in the U District. Zatmary teaches a course at the University of Washington on the social history of rock and roll, and has also written a book on the subject. In his book, he analyzes both punk and new wave.
Now, when it's transplanted to the United States, what happens, I think, is that punk rock becomes new wave. All of the style is still there, but there's no political impact anymore. In Seattle, there seems to be a small coterie of punks, but it really isn't anything big. There's more of a new wave scene in Seattle, I would think.
Wes Bradley manages a new wave club in Seattle called Wrex. He claims new wave has been given a bad name by the antics of the punks, since many people have a tendency to lump new wave in the same category.
The punk scene is something that you can tell the music immediately because it often doesn't have any rhythm or something that you can follow, where the new wave music is you know, fun dance music. It gets people to participate instead of just looking back and watching and, you know, vegetating or leading to violence. Most of the new wave people are people that, you know, go to the university or have jobs, you know, lawyers. Some of them wear suits, and other people like to wear their leather jackets, but they don't have, you know, safety pins through their noses or anything like that.
Well, there's a gigantic difference. Punk rock is really restricted in format.
Brian Runnings manages the Gorilla Room, a club in Seattle that sometimes features punk rock.
New wave is just a catch-all phrase for anything that's new that's not punk.
Runnings admits there are some problems with having punk music in the Gorilla Room. One problem is vandalism. Another is the underage clientele the music attracts. Eventually, he hopes to open an underage punk club, but so far, he hasn't found a suitable spot.
What you look for in an underage club is just bare walls. You have absolutely nothing there. And it has to be an absolute minimal environment, so there's nothing that can really get damaged, because one of the functions of punk music to kids and to other people who are into it is to have a format where they can release their aggressions harmlessly. That's why you see fighting and breaking and things like that as punk things, and nobody goes away with any hard feelings, you know, if they got punched in the eye or got a cut or something like that. But if you can keep the glass down, then you won't get cut up as much. And if you have no furniture, there's nothing to get broken, so all they can do is pummel each other, and they have a great time. You know, it's fully in the American tradition to get out and get plastered and get into fights. It's just, been a standard way of entertaining people, people entertaining themselves on Friday nights ever since the frontier days.
When you were a kid, didn't you wrestle? That's all we do is wrestle.
It's actually called slam dancing, and it's not the only new step created by this music. There are a few that look like an attempt to self-inflict whiplash. But it's all part of releasing energy and aggression, both for the dancers and for the musicians. These band members call themselves the Refuzors.
It's heavy, man. We're the best. We're the best. We're the loudest, we're the fastest, we're the angriest, and we got something to say and we carry a good melody.
Shock value is particularly important to the punk scene, so many of the bands choose names that are pointedly tasteless. Bands like the Dead Kennedys and the Sex Pistols. Their songs are equally indelicate. Kill the Rich, I Want to Be Sedated. Let's Lynch the Landlord. But some confess that they really aren't as angry, violent, and unhappy as all that. It's just an alternative to being like everyone else.
We represent the other quarter of the population.
I don't walk up and tell people, you shouldn't be wearing a three-piece suit, man, because it doesn't look good. It looks horrible. It looks confining. You know, so why should people walk up to me and go, well, you know, why do you have your nose pierced? Why do you have a star under your face?
I don't know, it's a strange feeling to, like, say, walk past a bus stop alone and have, like, the crowd of people just pour out like the Red Sea. And there's like 5 feet on each side of you, and women are driving their children, you know.
I just like to get down every now and then, get loose.
To some, an excuse to dress up. To others, a way of life. But is there a future in all this, for the music and for those who support it?
I don't think about it. I take each day as it comes. So many people have to plan their life ahead of time, and that's wrong. They shouldn't have to plan their life ahead of time. They should just do what comes upon themselves.
When people ask me what I'm going to be like when I'm 50, I tell them I'm going to be just like this.
And another thing is the punk movement, like a lot of the movements talk about tying all this stuff together, happens with youth. And because it happens with youth, these kids grow up. And by the time they hit 30 years old, they don't want to be angry anymore for any number of reasons. And you can't be angry all of your life. You can't rebel against something all of your life, otherwise it's going to be self-destructive. It happens with somebody like Sid Vicious, who killed himself, and a number of these guys who killed themselves. And it's a real choice whether you want to be angry and kill yourself or whether you want to be happy.
Selling the American Auto, next on PM Northwest.